100 Years, 100 Voices. A St. John Centennial Oral History project conceived and produced by WSJS Radio, where every day is history. Okay, so you can start, Yaelle.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mama. How are you?
Good. When and why did you attend St. John's?
I actually started St. John's in 5th grade. I was going to Baldwin, and then Abuela heard that St. John's had a great high school. So she wanted to switch us, your Theo and me. And my first teacher here was Miss Kocher. She was my 5th grade teacher who later became the elementary principal. I had a little of a hard time coming in, adjusting. Miss Kocher was a tough teacher, I have to say. But I think she molded me and helped me for the following years in St. John's. She didn't let me slack off. She wasn't a teacher that was going to let you slack off. She made you work your hardest and give your full potential, and she made you push yourself until the max. She was an amazing teacher. Now that I look back on it, right? At that point, I was probably saying to myself, I can't believe I got Miss Kocher as a teacher. But in retrospect, when I look back at it, she was a great teacher. She helped me throughout my whole high school, and I can say she probably helped me go through the university also.
What do you most remember about being a student here?
What do I most remember? I most remember that St. John's for me was home. It was a big family. We used to get here in the morning, and it was just a big, happy family. Everyone helped each other. Everyone had their own individuality, but we all respected each other. We all had different religions, and it was just one big family. Everyone was always happy. The teachers were very helpful. I had great teachers. Some of them were Miss Higuera, Mr. Rivera. I had a math teacher called Cheo, who later retired, Miss Ferdman, Miss Bolivar, my history teacher, Miss Kylie. I loved it. We used to love coming to school.
Were you part of any sports or clubs?
Yes, I was part of the community service club, which in that time was called the Interact Club. And I used to play softball and basketball. I wasn't great at it, but I used to play it. We used to have, our coach was Mr. Winter. And there was always a lot of school spirit. I have to say, in those times, St. John's was not great in sports. It wasn't really known for sports. But we all used to go and play and have a great time. I graduated from the class of 1985. It was a very united class. We all loved each other a lot. Of course, like every class there are different groups, but we were always all together. It came a Friday night, we all knew we were going to go to one place. I remember the school plays, the student council. We had a lot of spirit. The parties. There used to be a lot of parties in the house. That used to be our fundraising for the class. And the parties had a theme. So one year we did a punk theme. Another year was Hawaiian theme. But I think that's something that I always remember from St. John's, like I said before, was the sense of family and the sense of spirit that we always had. And most of all, that the teachers were always there for you. Anytime you wanted, you just walked into their classroom and they were there. They sat with you in lunch to have lunch with you, to talk to you. They laughed at your jokes. It was great. I think that something that also influenced me is that St. John's gave me a lot of structure. And I have to say that when I was looking for a school for you guys, that's what I was looking for, because when I got to the university, I had no problems there. I had no problems writing a paper. I had no problems attending a class and listening for 2 hours and being interested in it. It was a pleasure to go to the university and learn, and I think I owe it a lot to St. John's. I think it prepared me very, very, very well for the university. St. John's was very different. It was, well, in those times, I have to say there wasn't so much competition like now. Not in St. John's, but to get into the colleges, so that we were a lot more relaxed. Now it's more intense. Obviously, we didn't have the technology you guys have today, which is amazing. I remember we started computer classes here, I think when we were in 11th grade. Our first computers came, and I think there were 8 computers in a computer room that was the size of a closet, and we were all excited who was going to take that class. I think the main difference nowadays is the technology. And with that comes the way you prepare yourself for later on in life. I think anyone would probably agree with me in that. Puerto Rico was a lot more relaxed.
I attended St. John's in pre-K, and I attended it because my mom put me here. I mean, I didn't really have a choice to attend it or not to attend it, but if I had a choice, I wouldn't have chosen any other school. I think being in St. John's since I was young, obviously we'd all complain, oh my God, we have so much work, and I know, like, this is so stressful. But then now reflecting back on all the work and everything that St. John has put me through, it definitely was worth it. Where I've gotten up to now, I think I owe it up to St. John's and also to my parents. But St. John's was a big part of who I am. Yeah.
I think one thing that I can say is that the teachers had a lot to do with it, because you guys spent here 8 hours a day. You came home, and you came home to study, and we had dinner together, but the bulk of your day was here. So I have to say the teachers in St. John's were amazing.
I think when I was young, I used to be a very bossy person. Like, I would tell everyone what to do, and I remember when my mom would go to parent-teacher meetings or stuff like that, they would always say the same thing, that I was, like, bossing around my classmates. And I think after taking all the advice from all the teachers and what my mom would tell me, I think I've transformed in a way that I'm more open to what people say, and I work with people a lot better than I used to.
Could you pinpoint when the turning point was?
I think in 4th grade.
Okay, what happened?
I don't know. My teacher was Miss Guinibus, and I loved her. She was an amazing teacher, and I became close with 4 girls. There were Bianca. Well, 3 girls, Bianca, Laura, and Caro Ricalci. And we became a really close group of friends, and I think from there on I changed, and it was nice.
Did you have a nucleus of friends similar to Yaelle?
Like I said, our class was very close, but of course, yes, I had Anita, Gonzalez, which I'm still very close to, Vicky Newman, which also I'm very close to. These are people I see every year.
This show, I forgot what it was called. It was like a CNN, but it was with a teddy bear. And each time during reading time, us 4 would get up there and we'd continue our show, and it was like a CNN. It was really fun, and we just loved going up there and doing it while everyone is reading or relaxing. We were always paying attention, trying to do our little show. Yeah. I think this year, as a senior, coming back to school the first day of school and going in the caravana and just being together as a class and all the different activities we have done together as a class and the videos, when I saw the video in the banquet, it was just amazing to see it, and there were so many experiences that I've taken from my senior year and that I will forever remember with my class. I think my class is a big part of who I am and what has made my experience so amazing in St. John's. Just the support from everyone, the sense of community and the sense of family that you have when you're in St. John's, and the want to create that community outside also, and to help others, and also just to feel at home wherever I am. Yaelle Shaked, class of 2014.
Lorraine Bender, class of 1985.